Dear Father Simon and the pardoning purveyors of penitence, my confession goes back about 8 years to a time when I had recently moved to Frankfurt to live with my German girlfriend. Now, that lady is no longer my girlfriend. Not an amicable break, I can tell you. She is not central to this confession and has no interest in British radio, so we can safely say she won't be listening. But you never know. If you're German and you went out with Dr. Phil, this could be about you, loosely. You see, this confession actually relates to the older sister of my ex. Let's call her Dagmar, who was and indeed is a very successful architect in Berlin. Ooh. Now, Dagmar is quite a likeable lady if we set aside her domineering, patronising and self-centred behaviour.
Great.
It's fair to say these families went their separate ways. Yeah. And at the time of these events, she was just completing a project, which we're calling Ein großer Kaiser, which means big cheese, on a major shopping and entertainment complex in central Berlin. Okay, are we painting the picture?
Yes, yes.
To follow on from this achievement, Dagmar had decided to apply for a top job in a major international development company, also headquartered in Berlin. She's a lady who speaks and writes pretty good English, but it was not uncommon for her to consult me on the finer points of the English language, the minutiae of grammar, the correct choice of the vernacular, and the joys of the split infinitive. I'm sure you get the picture. So it was no great surprise to me when Dagmar called to ask me whether I would review her CV before she submitted it with her application. Naturally, I was happy to help, and after a short discussion, we agreed that rather than using the track changes function in a popular word processing program, which drives me crazy, I should simply make any changes directly into the final document. When it arrived, the CV was, of course, hugely impressive, and the grammar was also impressively accurate. I made a few small corrections, and then, just before hitting the send button, for reasons that I can neither remember nor explain, I added 2 extra words. Just two, Father Simon,
Yeah,
that's
just
all
two.
it was.
That
What
is fine.
difference could 2 words make to a job application?
Surely not.
And honestly, I'm pretty certain I told Dagmar to check it carefully to make sure she was happy with my changes. Anyway, having sent it, I forgot all about the CV and got on with my life. So it was something of a surprise when about 1 month later, Dagmar called me in a state of agitation. Apparently, she'd just come out of the interview and it had gone beautifully. Vorsprung durch Technik, one might almost say, until the very final question. At that point, the chief interrogator pointed his finger at 2 words that he'd highlighted in the personal interests and hobbies section at the very end of the CV. And then Dr. Phil says, cue your best German accent, Father Simon.
Yes, no, it demands a German accent. Yes.
I think I'm allowed to do this
really?
one.
Good.
And so, he said.
That's not even it,
Those
yeah?
are 2 words.
Brilliant.
No, they're not the 2 words.
No.
This is very interesting indeed, Dagmar. Can I call you Dagmar? Yes, you can call me Dagmar. So, tell us about your favourite hobby.
Oh, this is great.
I'm sorry, says Dagmar. Tell us about your favourite hobby as detailed here in the paper I have in front of me.
It's French. You're going to French. Brilliant. Yeah, go on.
It's all one continent.
Yes, it is.
We're all
all
not.
together now.
Well, we're not.
No, we're not.
Steady. So, Frau Dagmar says, she was understandably floundering as she didn't actually have a favourite hobby. I'm sorry, she says, my favourite hobby? Yes, says the chief interrogator. It says here your favourite hobby is ferret breeding. The breeding of
the ferrets.
die Frechen.
Die
Frechen. Plural for ferrets, I think. Apparently the interview then ended in something of a chaotic manner, and Dagmar was, for once in her lifetime, utterly speechless. Well, Father Simon, she may have been lost for words in the interview, but on the telephone to me straight afterwards, she had certainly rediscovered her vocabulary. I was suddenly learning all sorts of phrases that would be no use at all to me in a Frankfurt business meeting. Now, in fairness to Dagmar, it turns out that she had actually no idea what a ferret even was. Just a reminder, Frechen in German, just in case you're ever in a tight spot. So I can who knows, if you're visiting Germany, who knows when you're going to need the word for ferret. So I can certainly understand her agitation, but sadly it turned out Dagmar was not appointed to this esteemed position within a top global company. We never did find out exactly the reason why. So my dearly beloved gathering, I come to ask forgiveness, not from my ex, who spent the following weeks telling me at great length her views on my misdemeanour, or indeed from Dagmar herself, who subsequently established her own company and has since been responsible for many impressive erections across the great city of Berlin. Plus, as I previously mentioned, she was domineering, patronising and self-centred. I didn't think any of this was going to get through. I do seek forgiveness from the ferret breeders the world over in case my foolish act has brought them into any form of professional dispute. Interesting tale. The CV is a very interesting area for confessions, I think. Thank you, Dr. Phil, for that. What do you say, Sister Bobby?
Loved it. I wrote down 2 possibilities for the 2 words, which I shared with, and they are way off.
Well, I don't suppose anyone guessed ferret breeding.
I thought he might have just put "love you" on the bottom, and as a funny kind of throwaway.
Oh, I see.
But so his was much more inventive, so that was impressive. Could have been worse, couldn't it, for 2 words?
Love you would have been quite funny.
Love you, yeah, it would have been. That's what I thought. It was safe, harmless. Dr. Phil, I can't forgive you. Because this was about work. She asked you for help, quite honestly. And whether you liked her or not, she actually genuinely asked for you for your help. And how would you feel if you'd needed her help? She might have been all those things, but in this situation, she came to you for your expertise. Dr. Phil, you are not forgiven.
But Frau Dagmar has clearly done pretty well for herself in spite of
I
everything.
am definitely going to forgive, and here is why. There are 2 reasons why. Number 1, Frau Dagmar was after a free translation service. Try paying for the service you require. If you're going to get it for free, then better double check.
Well, those ones on the internet, they're all very
off
accurate.
Your sister's boyfriend just to be able to get your CV looking nice, not on. Second thing is, this firm using the... Does anyone still ask for, do you have any hobbies or pastimes? None of us have got hobbies or pastimes anymore. We haven't got the time. That's why I'm coming for this job. If I didn't want, I've got hobbies or pastimes, I don't need your job. It's like what's your greatest weakness? I have a low tolerance for stupid questions from people like you.
See how that goes down?
Yes, that exactly goes down very well. So I'm going to forgive because the company didn't need her and she wanted something for nothing.